forward-looking statements that are subject to risks, uncertainties, and other factors beyond our control. Our actual results, performance, or achievements may differ materially and adversely from those anticipated or implied by such statements because of various risk factors, including those detailed in our quarterly report on Form 10-Q for the fiscal quarter ended January 31st, 2019, filed with the SEC. Any future product or roadmap information presented is intended to outline general product direction, is not a commitment to deliver any functionality, and should not be used when making any purchasing decision.
That moment when a customer has the expression on their face when they do a hypervisor conversion and they see how easy it is.
It was like upgrade, click a button, boom, done.
We were working on a tough support issue, and the guy looked at our address and realized he lived 10 minutes away, so he just drove on site to fix it.
When they released the Acropolis block services,
getting rid of our monolithic 3-tier infrastructure and shrinking that down into a 2U Nutanix block.
It was Nutanix decided to sell Acropolis and go to fight against VMware. Yes, for me, it's the best moment.
This is my 5th .NEXT, and I really appreciate it.
Last year, riding in on the Mardi Gras float.
Talked to the founder himself, Mr. Dheeraj Pandey. That was my hitting the jackpot moment, you know.
I think all the chocolate and the sweets inside it.
So far going over to the certification lounge and being able to do any certification that I want for free.
So seeing the partner count here is incredible.
To meet all the NTCs here personally, not digitally.
Being in California and I got a t-shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nutanix VP and GM, IoT and AI, Satyam Vaghani.
Hi, folks. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to day 2 here at Nutanix .NEXT 2019. Did you guys enjoy the party last night? Yeah? Yes? Yay! Yeah, me too. As you can see, it worked out pretty well for me. Picked up a Mother's Day gift. This will work, right? No, this belongs to a colleague. We can't find him since last night, so, I guess didn't like the guy anyway. But enough of this. So if you turn to chapter 7 in your textbooks, kids, you'll see that the world is changing. This is data from the last 5 years. And you see that people are getting less curious about concepts that they really understand well, things like virtual machines and virtualized workloads. And they are getting more curious about new concepts, things like containers and AI and so on. This is playing out in the real world. More than 6 in 10 enterprises are switching over from monolithic application architectures to microservices-based architectures. More people are going to school to learn about AI. More VCs are investing in it. And so we are going to switch our focus from gathering data to getting insights out of that data. And more applications are now becoming truly hybrid. They run not just in a single data center, but across multiple clouds, all the way from the edge to the core to the cloud. IoT is a good example. IoT applications process 40 times more data, or will process 40 times more data next year on the edge than in the cloud. So all in all, what this means is we are going to see a massive shift. We think the mission-critical workloads of tomorrow are going to look very different from the mission-critical workloads of today. Apples and oranges. And so we need to do something about these oranges. And to tell you what it is, Let me use IoT as an example, because most IoT applications fall in the oranges category. And specifically, I'm going to share 2 examples with you. One is with a Fortune 500 manufacturing customer of ours. They were doing a smart factory. And the idea was to source data from their machines and from cameras at the factory, run it through some AI models to figure out if a machine is going to fail or to do visual product inspection. And to do that, we gave them a highly portable PaaS stack, which they ran at the edge at the factory. And it enabled them to run their containerized AI applications at every factory in the world. They have thousands of them, to process the data and get insights. And their operators and developers could manage this massively distributed planet-scale infrastructure, all from a central point of control, which was Xi IoT. Now, this is a very standard IoT use case. And there are advanced ones, like this one at Compass Group. It's a Fortune 500 food services company. They run 55,000 cafeterias and restaurants around the world. And this is what we did for them. Roll the video, please. So as simple as that, Amazon Go for restaurants, they run it in production. And so this is a very advanced IoT use case. They have created a brand new experience using IoT, something that was not possible before, and AI. Same blueprint across standard use cases or very advanced ones. But as we did this with many customers, we learned one key thing, is if we could enable a rapid development environment for IoT, we would let many more enterprises and many more end users undertake this journey with a much higher level of confidence, much higher probability of success. So that was the mission we were working on for the last 6 months, to create step 0. And specifically, it requires us to solve 3 problems. Problem number 1 is about the platform. How can we make it such that any IoT developer can start building an IoT application without having to worry about infrastructure first? Problem number 2 is applications. These IoT applications are very complicated. They are very vertical specific. So how is it that we can create a massive repository of applications, IoT applications that are available to developers to build off of? And number 3 was data. Every enterprise use case needs special data from their own context, like the food tray that you saw on the Compass example. How can we make it very simple to acquire that data on behalf of the IoT developers? So let me start with the platform problem. I'm very happy to announce that starting now, today, we are going to make a full-fledged IoT stack available in the cloud for any developer to use. We call it the Xi IoT Cloud Instance. Now, the way it works is it's a Nutanix-hosted PaaS in the cloud for IoT. And any application that you write using Xi IoT can run either on the cloud or on any of the edges that you choose to deploy. And this thing is available right now for people to try out at iot.nutanix.com. So thanks. Easy peasy. So that's problem number 1, the platform. And before I go on, let me invite 2 great friends, Augustin from Deepomatic and Mahesh from Nutanix. Folks. Good morning.
Satyam, how are you?
Welcome. Morning, Mahesh. Good morning. So guys, maybe I'll start with you, Augustin. Can you tell us a little bit about Deepomatic?
Sure. So Deepomatic is a software enabling any company to build applications easily based on video recognition. So for instance, Compass built on Deepomatic the food recognition algorithms.
It was a great partnership, right?
Right.
Machine vision ought to be everywhere. Why is it so hard?
Machine vision is easy to prototype, but very hard to operate at scale. Because in production, you still need to improve your algorithm, train your algorithm through the management of thousands of feedback loops between your central training system and your thousands of cognitive applications deployed at the edge. We created Deepomatic to simplify that workflow. So let's have a demo.
Can we see it? Yeah.
Sure. OK, so first, please imagine that you are a TV manufacturer and you want to create a new generation of TV that you can control with your hand. Let's train a gesture recognition customized model.
Before we go there, Augustin, the other demo screen, please.
Sure.
The other demo screen, please. How do you say it in French?
Arrive in a minute.
Yes.
There you go.
All right. So I'm going to record a little video to feed my data set here, because training neural network is about showing examples. So let's say that this gesture is for, I want to pause the movie. And let's say that this gesture means I want to switch off the TV. Once it's done, I send it to Deepomatic Studio. So the studio is the place where you can manage data, manage images, label, train neural networks. You go, and you can see that images, the video I just recorded was decomposed into frames. And here, I can take several frames. I'm going to label those frames. So I'm attributing the right tag. Here it is pause the movie. And the other gesture is going to trigger switch off the TV. All right. So switch off the TV. Once you have a bunch of images representing each action that you want to train, all you need to do is go to that section, click on that button. OK. It's my first model. And that's it. You have just created your very first customized video recognition application. And you can deploy it on thousands of devices through Xi IoT. What you need to remember, it is that you can do that in less than 2 minutes on a click-based interface and without being an AI expert. Thank you.
That was great. Thanks, Augustin. So, just to summarize, Augustin trained the computer to understand two concepts that it doesn't quite do so far. And while he used the TV application, which hopefully everyone relates to, you can imagine this can potentially be an application for a retail store, to summon customer service, or in an oil rig or a factory and so on. So very widely applicable. This is an example. Now, the model is trained. It's time to deploy the application. We saw the orange part of the whole cycle. We trained the model, uploaded it to Xi IoT. And to deploy the application, we have made it extremely easy for creators to distribute these kind of applications extremely widely to our end users through our platform. We call it the Xi IoT App Library. And Mahesh will lead us through the details.
Certainly, Satyam. Can we switch to this laptop? Excellent. So what we are looking at here is the Xi IoT Cloud dashboard. And if you can look over here, you see that there are a few applications already deployed on this particular account. All users who sign up for the account, sign up for the service, will have these applications deployed as well. Let's take a look at the application library itself. As you can see, the library already includes the Deepomatic apps. There are some apps that were developed by Nutanix, and the applications developed by your developers will also go in this library. Let's take a look at the Deepomatic app in detail. As you can see, this particular app has 3 containers, and it's already running in the Xi Cloud. So what the application library will do is it allows our users to play around with these applications, but they can also use these as building blocks to create some of their new applications as well.
It's as simple as that. The application almost looks very trivial, but this can run at planet scale if Mahesh wants to. So the last thing to do now is we have the application running. It's going to now understand what people are doing, and we need to feed it data. And so we've solved the application problem. Now to feed it data, like any proud IoT developer, you need a camera, and I have one, obviously based on the Raspberry Pi, which is apparently the IoT standard. So it looks like this. It's pretty simple. All I need to plug in and pray a little bit. 2 problems here is it sometimes works, and 2, it might keep you single for a long amount of time. So you could do that, or you could use the Xi IoT sensor, which is an application. It converts any smartphone into an IoT sensor. Mahesh is using it right now and relaying live video data into the Deepomatic application running in the cloud for it to do some inferences. You can see the inferences happening right there on your demo screen. So it's as simple as that, a full-fledged AI application.
So as you can see, this is extremely easy to use. We are actually feeding the Augustin's gestures to the cloud. The cloud is doing the inference, and then we are playing back that on the laptop here.
Great.
I'm going to stop this for now. So as pleased as we are to announce the Xi IoT sensor today, the thing that really excites me is the custom connectors we built that made this sensor possible. We now allow users to extend our platform by writing custom connectors. What that does is it makes our platform use newer protocols and newer sensors going forward. And just like the application library, these custom connectors will be available to our customers. So they can stop worrying about protocols and start innovating.
Great, Mahesh. Do we have any other sensors running out in the wild?
Oh.
All right, looks like it'll take some time. Anyway, thanks very much, guys. See you. So that was the app library. And the last thing about this is, we are very humbled to have Deepomatic and many other partners around the world support us in this new initiative. Here's one from America and Japan. It's Tokyo Electron Device. Roll the video, please.
One of our solutions, CXM, is an AI ML predictive maintenance software will be posted on Xi IoT marketplace in this summer. It provides quickly and easily modeling, application deployment, and secure system management. This certainly brings unprecedented experiences to the customers.
So all in all, we think Xi IoT can potentially be the YouTube for IoT applications. We want to bring together creators and users. We want to make it extremely easy for creators to create extremely rich IoT applications, non-trivial applications, and to distribute them very widely. And we want to let users consume these applications through the Xi IoT system and to take their IoT projects from ambition to action as soon as possible. Which brings me back to the apples and oranges. We've done a lot of work last year, folks, to get ready for the world on the right. We now have a new platform for these new generation applications, hybrid applications. And in creating that platform, we have solved not just for operators, but also for developers. And we have found new ways to let partners deliver differentiation on top of our platform through technology. So that's Xi IoT. It's time to get ready for the world of oranges. It's time to make orange juice. And everything you need to do so is right here. Thank you. Thanks, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome VP General Manager, Database Services, Bala Kuchibhotla.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a wonderful time last night. My friend Satyam took all of us through the journey of future of IT. But let me try to impress upon that you have to have a need to go back in time if needed. Let's take a look at it. Sometimes we all lose data. It could be very precious, right? Now, what does it take? Do you need infinity stones to get back your data? Or do you need to do intergalactic gymnastics and quantum realm to get back your data? No. All you need is Nutanix time machine. Nutanix era's time machine. We'll get back your data with a snap. Now, Nutanix Era is not just time machine. It's a comprehensive set of database services. We started with provisioning, copy data management about 6 months back, went to GA. Thank you to all our early customers. It's a tremendous start for us. Thank you for trusting your 40 terabyte systems, 60 terabyte systems, billings, and transportation logistics systems with Nutanix Era. Now, what's new? I'm happy to announce that we are extending the HA capability of provisioning to more engines, that is SQL Server as well as HA for Postgres. That means that you can do your AAG clusters. And also, I'm super excited to inform that we are introducing a brand new service, one-click patching. Yes, it's not just for infrastructure upgrades of Nutanix. We're going to extend one-click patching for your favorite databases. And finally, we'll make Nutanix Era RBAC enabled. What does it mean is you can assign roles and then confine your users to certain type of functionality and confine them to certain type of data. Let's see all of this in a quick demo. I am logging in as Bala, the super user, to the Nutanix Central site, the Era's time machine and dashboard. As you can see that you can do 7x space savings. If you had to do these 51 databases, 6 databases, and 45 clones, you could have incurred 90 terabytes plus. But with Nutanix Era, you probably are just incurring around 13 terabytes, right? So let me quickly do a provisioning demo and then go to the new features. So to do the provisioning, all you need to do is go to the source, go to the provisioning, pick your choice of engine, Oracle, and then let's do 4-node clusters. We're talking about rack database, 4-node rack cluster on Nutanix. Now, everything about Nutanix is all about standardization. So let me first set the next cluster name. The principles of the provisioning is all about standardization. We let you create standards and then just use them as you feel like. So let's talk about compute profile. You can pick your own compute profile. You can pick your own network profile. You can pick your own software image. That means that you can create the gold image and let you use in the provisioning. So let's go to the next step. Let's create a sales database. You need to give the service ID. Let me give the password. And look at the size of the database, 2 terabytes. One thing that you need to take out from provisioning is we will implement all the best practices for you. You don't need to worry about how to re-platform your database on Nutanix. We'll do all the best practices for you. You can put your favorite EM agent as part of the post-processing too. Now, finally, you go to the time machine. Again, all standards. You can pick your own time machine. That means that this is a promise of RPO and RTO for that. Here, we can do 30 days of continuous recovery region, 30 days of daily backups, and so on and so forth. Let's click on the provisioning. That's all it takes for 4-node rack system to be provisioned on Nutanix. We will do all the steps that are needed. We'll create the cluster machines. We'll allocate the storage. We'll deploy the software, database software, grid, create the assemblies groups, and so on and so forth, create the database. Now, let me go back and show you what does it mean to do one-click patching. So let me go to databases again. Let me go to one of those clones. This is a CRM database clone that I have created. And it seems to be running on July PSU. If you see July 2018 PSU, it also says that there is an update available for this. I can go to different patch level. Let me click on it. You'll be presented with different gold images that are possible for this database to get patched up to. So looks like we have an October PSU, which is far more secure than what it is. Now you get to choose your downtime, or you get to choose your maintenance window. When do you want to patch it? It could be night at 2 o'clock, or it could be now, like emergency repair for your databases. So all that it takes is one click, literally one click for database patching, right? So this will get you, your Oracle databases get patched. If you see the number of steps, I'm not going to go into details. You can definitely attend one of our deep dive sessions to go through it. We will make the patching process completely atomic, right? So that's one. So while this patching process is going on, let me talk about data management. And probably I'll break some Guinness Book of World Records of data management here. So here is our highly differentiated time machine. You can see this is a CRM database running for more than a year that we started this product and testing it in our central site. It has an SLA of gold. That means that 30 days of continuous recovery region. That means literally you can go to any point in time, to the order of seconds. In case of Oracle, you can go to the last sub-second if you know the transaction ID too. And then say that I would like to create a clone, we will be able to do that. Now, you have seen this demo about 6 months back, so what's new in the time machine? Now, the time machine has the capability not only to preserve your data protection snapshots, but also your sanitized snapshots. That means that you want to kind of create a masking copy of your database and then give it to your QA. So how do you do that? You can see this time machine maintains sanitized copies. There are only 4 copies of sanitized copies in this time machine. How do you achieve that? Let's just go to the administration. You will see that you can create a masking policy. I have created a masking policy for format preserving social security numbers. I can maintain 4 snapshots over the periodicity of a weekend. And how do I make sure that I give this only sanitized copies access to my QA? So here is how you do. There is a data access management control that you can do it. I have given this to Mr. David, who is my QA lead in the company, and say that, hey, you can access my time machine, but only sanitized copies. You don't have access to your production data. So let me log in back as David and see what I can do with it, right? So now I'm logged as Mr. David. You can see that I have 0 sources. That means that I don't control any databases. I do have 2 clones. I have time machine access. Let's see what I can do with this time machine. So I, as the David here, QA lead, has access to only time machine sanitized snapshots, not the data protection. I don't have access to the source database. I just want to consume the data. Even the functionality that what I can do is limited. Let's go and look at the actions. I cannot manage this time machine. I can only consume it. I can create clones from it. So let me go ahead and create a clone. For cloning, it's pretty much close to provisioning kind of stuff. You pick your snapshot, go to next, and then you can choose again your compute profiles, network profiles, and so on and so forth. And of course, we don't carry passwords. We need to give the password. And click clone. That's all it takes to create a sanitized clone environment by your QA from the time machine, right? So now, finally, I will conclude the demo with refresh, one-click refresh. Let me go back to databases by the same person. I have a MySQL database, billings. It has not been refreshed for 20 days. Now my boss tells me that I need to go back to the latest state and try new changes. Let me look at the database. I see a refresh button here. Click on it. I will be presented with all the latest snapshots that I can do with it. Again, choose your snapshot. Let me go back to the latest Saturday snapshot and click on refresh. Again, one click. So the point I'm trying to convey here is we are ready for enterprise workloads, both for performance as well as we want to give the lifecycle management like an iPhone experience for your databases. We'll cut down your provisioning from days to minutes. We'll cut down your backup from hours to seconds. Literally, this is an application-consistent backups. And we can create highly efficient, elegant copies and data protection for you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nutanix SVP Engineering, Manoj Agarwal, and Staff Design Architect, Melina McLarty.
Wow, wasn't that great? That one-click database services? It was awesome. What a pleasure it is to introduce you to Xi, an honest hybrid cloud platform. What does it mean to be an honest hybrid cloud? There are three core principles. It should provide seamless extension from your on-premise private cloud to a public cloud environment with identical operations between the two sides. And set of hybrid services which can be deployed with a unified control plane without requiring any tooling changes.
We create this seamless experience by extending your on-premises environment to Xi with three key features. First, we leverage your existing My Nutanix credentials. So you don't need to create a new account or manage additional passwords. Just with one click, you pair your on-premises to Xi. Additionally, we automatically sync all your on-premises entities, like categories and policies. You don't have to worry about it. We give you a seamless management experience through Prism, so you get identical operations on both sides. Tell us about our first service.
Our first hybrid service is Xi Leap. Disaster recovery as a service. This service allows you to protect, test, failover, and failback all of your applications from on-premise environment to Xi Cloud. We are live in 3 regions around the globe. In North America, we have US West, US East. Last month, we went live in London, UK. Many of you, our valued customers, are using this service in production. Thank you. Let's talk about a few.
Our very first customer on this service was a regional school district. They started using Nutanix and AHV to save themselves the VTax, and they signed up for our early access program, where they started to test Leap on some of their applications, and actually started using it in production before we went GA. Thank you for trusting us.
Another customer, a leading state service provider. They have been using Nutanix for over 2 years, running all of their mission-critical workload on AHV. They tried Xi EA during the early access program, and since then, running it in production. They found an interesting use case. Just like they're using IES functionality on the on-prem side, they spilled it over to Xi Cloud also. Now they are running active-active on both sides.
This is disaster recovery as a service and infrastructure as a service, all on Xi Leap. So what are we adding to it today?
Nutanix is a platform, and we provide broader choices to our customer. We are extending the Xi Leap capability to include VMware ESXi now for all of your disaster recovery services. We are also extending the network connecting capability with Nutanix-provided built-in VPN. And we are going to bring this service to many more regions around the globe in the second half of this year. Why don't we look at how it looks live?
Sure. So I'm managing an environment for Disney, since we're here in Anaheim. Let me just log in. Typing passwords is tricky in front of so many people.
So all she's doing is logging onto the Prism environment. And we'll look at a bunch of entities there. Like the environment itself is, there are two clusters. There's a VMware-based ESXi cluster, and there is a AHV cluster, and both of them managed by a Prism Central.
Here we are. So let's take a look at this environment. As I mentioned, this is Disney's environment. It's managing their top secret files, which of course they store in the Magic Kingdom. Let's take a look at our availability zones. Since it's already paired with Xi through that seamless experience, you can see we have this region here. That's our region in the UK. It's currently reachable. Take a look at those two clusters. Again, HV, ESXi, multi-hypervisor environment, and 5 VMs. Now, ignore this VPN VM for now. We'll talk about that in a minute. Take a look at these 4. Collectively, they make up my top secret Disney file application, and they span both hypervisors as well. Now, to make this a true hybrid experience, we sync those policies and entities for you. 2 really important policies are the protection policies and recovery plans. Manoj, can you tell us about those?
Yes. Protection policy allows you to specify RPO and retention policy for your application. With recovery plan, you specify rules on how to recover these applications in the event of real disaster on the secondary side.
I have a recovery plan here for my environment, so let's check that out. You can see things like the power on sequence, as well as our network settings. Network settings will show us how we map our on-premises networks to our Xi side VPCs. What's cool here is we automatically create your subnets on the Xi side from your on-premises network, so you don't have to worry about that, but you can edit them. Additionally, the recovery plan allows you to specify a public IP address, like this .122 IP address. That's the IP address that will be assigned to our application during the failover so we can access it from the internet.
You can see there is a lot of innovation in this particular area. Networking is a hard problem. Preserving IP from your primary environment to this hybrid like Xi cloud environment is something that we have simplified it greatly for you. Why don't we look at how it looks like on the Xi side?
Sure. You saw I clicked over there in one click. I just navigated over using my Nutanix credentials. And we see the entities that have been automatically synced to Xi. Now, since we've been running Xi Leap for some time now, I have these recoverable entities that have been created here. Each one maps to one of those VMs you saw running on premises. We click on recovery plans, and here's that recovery plan I showed you earlier. Let's see what we can do here.
With disaster recovery service, we provide you one-click experience to test, failover, and failback. One-click test, it allows you to test your recovery plan ahead of any failover event, actual disaster. An operation that infrastructure admin, they do it quite regularly. Painful operations used to take weeks, if not months. Something that we have simplified it to do it in minutes now.
Why don't we show them how easy it is by doing a failover right now in minutes?
Yeah, let's do it.
To show you how this works, let's take a look at our environment here. Again, it's in 2 availability zones, but because now that we're on the Xi side, we want to look back at our PC on premises, and we see it's reachable. We need to take down our PC. And since this hardware is obviously in the Magic Kingdom, we wrote a little spell that we're going to bippity-boppity-boo on the Magic Kingdom and take down our on-premises. Obviously, a script is running in the background to do that. We click back here, and we refresh. And there we see our on-premises is no longer reachable, so it's been taken down. Let's go to that recovery plan and fail over our application. It's a one-click experience that you've come to expect from Nutanix. It's failing over from our primary location on premises to London. It's entirely unplanned. And we click fail over. Now we're running a number of validation checks here. We want to make sure the environment was properly configured to be successful. So we check things like your networking configuration or categories. Looks like it's good. We can click into the recovery plan and monitor progress in real time.
While the failover is happening, I would like to highlight that Xi Cloud platform is highly secured, backed by industry-leading compliance and certification. ISO 27001, 17, 18, SOC 2 Type 1, GDPR, and many more. All of customers' data is always encrypted with unique keys, and DDoS protection is enabled by default. For application security, you can bring your own firewall, and you can also use built-in policy-based routing to protect your application from the internet by whitelisting certain ports, such as port 80, 443, and so on.
Let's look back at the environment here. I have 2 virtual private clouds, or VPCs. Again, we've automatically created these for you, your production and test VPCs, so you don't have to worry about that either. If we click into our production, here's those 2 securing methods, the VPN and Direct Connect Manoj spoke about. Each one is a one-click experience for configuring, but today we're excited to announce the Nutanix built-in VPN that we're using here. And how this works is we automatically deployed that VM on premises for you, so you don't have to worry about it. We click over to policies, and looking at these 2 policies here, collectively they ensure that traffic coming from the internet to my top secret files will be routed through my Palo Alto network firewall that I have running on Xi. Let's see the status of the failover. Back to the recovery plan. Click in. OK, looks like everything worked out here. It's 100% complete. We should see the VMs start to show up. Beautiful. There's all 4 VMs. Now let's make sure that IP assignment worked as expected. Click into the NIC. There's our .122 IP. Let's ping that and make sure it's successful. Beautiful.
Oh. Wasn't that awesome? What you saw just now, it was VMware and AHV environment on the primary side. Came over to Xi Cloud, and you didn't care about the hypervisor, what hypervisor it was running on. You don't need to pay vTax. You know what? After it fails over, this is your production environment. You can create and deploy more application in this environment at this point. And when you're ready, your primary site comes back. The reverse replication starts automatically. And when you are ready to bring application back home, all you have to do is the same simple one-click operation, what you did, you just now saw, to fail over on the secondary side. It is that easy.
So let me get this. We have one auto-deployed Nutanix built-in VPN. We have a multi-hypervisor environment. Where do we go from here?
Pleased to announce that we're bringing this service to many more regions around the globe, starting out with Japan, Germany, and Italy, and this is just the beginning.
So this is the industry's first true hybrid cloud service, where you can protect and run your applications, both legacy and modern, without changing the application or the tooling.
This is your hybrid cloud. We love building it. Hope you love using it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome School Chair for Interactive Computing at the Georgia Institute of Technology, Dr. Ayanna Howard.
So what I want to do with this time that I have with you is bring you into the world of roboticists. So I've been doing robotics for probably as long as I've been alive, since I was 2. And one of the things that's been common is it's about people and robotics. So when I was at NASA, I was a Mars robotics researcher, deputy manager, and we had to envision the impossible and make it a reality. When I moved to Georgia Tech, we had to train students on the jobs of today, but also prepare them for the jobs of the future. And so one of the things I've always thought about is this future of aspects, the future of robotics, the future of AI, and what is our role in ensuring that we have the enhanced benefits of AI, but also mitigate some of the issues. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is really looking at AI and hopefully convincing you that it is good. I'm sure you guys know this, but also give you a little bit of things to think about how to ensure that it's also equal and that we don't cause more harm than the good. And so at the end of this, I want you to think back and really challenge yourself about this world and challenge your thought process and figure out, is it a good or a bad thing? So one of the things about the future of robotics and AI in this industry is that all the things are coming together. So you have the sensor data, you have IoT, grabbing millions and billions of data about us, things that we wear on our bodies, our Fitbits and our smartwatches, our phones, our cameras, and they're all tied in where we have data and data and data. And then we have the intelligence, figuring out what is it about the data that makes good decisions. Why are we even interested in this data? We want to have prediction and personalized healthcare and all these things that make our world a better place. And it is the key of the person and us that really enable that. So when I started in this world, I was asked always, and even now, define a robot. Define artificial intelligence, define machine learning. And as an academic, I'd have this really nice terminology that nobody would agree with, but it was mine. But now I actually say it really doesn't matter. People, they want to know the definition, but really they just want to know what is its function. What can it do for us? What can it do for me? So some of these are my robots, and they're cute and they're engaging, and people look at them and they're like, oh, those are so interesting. What do they do? They don't ask, is it intelligent? Does it have a machine learning algorithm? Does it have computer vision? Will it recognize? They ask, what does it do? What will it do for me? And so really the question isn't, what kind of algorithm am I using? Am I using a deep neural network or an SOM? It really is about what is its function and how does it enhance the customer experience and that personal nature of what it can do in terms of software. The other thing that I'm always asked is, well, your robots look intelligent, your systems seem to be intelligent, but are they really intelligent? Can these machines really think? And I want to tell you that despite common belief in terms of the media, the singularity really doesn't matter. What really matters is ensuring that people think that the machines are smart. So if I'm going up to a customer and I have a personalized experience, whether it's scripted or whether it's intelligent or whether it's adaptive, it doesn't matter as long as that person has a personalized experience. And so a lot of things that we do in research and in AI and robotics in terms of the future is that we push the boundaries so that people believe that it's intelligent, but it's not fully intelligent. And as people figure it out and they get more engaged with these systems, we make the AI a little bit smarter and a little bit smaller. And so we're always one step ahead. We think about the future, but the future is really thinking, what is the one step ahead of what people expect today? And then what's the next step of what people expect today? And so it's a continuing, evolving world that is fascinating and amazing, but we're always thinking about this future aspect. What's next, what's next, what's next? And so it also means that when people interact with these systems that they think is intelligent, that they feel as if they're smart, there's also this personal relationship. Everyone really enjoys interacting with agents. I bet if we suddenly deactivated all of your Siri and Alexas today, there would be an uproar. It's a machine. Why is that? Well, we have a relationship with these systems. We have developed a dependency on them, a use of them, and they have personalities. And they understand our needs, and they adapt to us. And so my agent is slightly more personal and understands my nuances more so than your agent. And because we design these systems to be personalized in this way, we have very emotional connections to them. We do get angry when our system doesn't respond the way we do. And we're also very patient. We will repeat ourselves if our agent doesn't really understand our words. We will change what words we choose. We will talk a little slower because we want to help our agents. And all of this means that we have this relationship, this personal relationship, which provides some really nice aspects of AI, but also some bad. I'm going to talk about both. So some of the good, if I think about the future of what's out there and what we can enable and what we're looking at. So if you think about wearables, we live with wearables every day. Your smartwatch, your phone is on us. And there are some really interesting things going on in terms of ensuring our lives are more efficient and more better. As an example, as you go to work, imagine that your system can adapt as you get stressed or tired. And when you're tired, instead of having you start coding, it actually just says, oh, I think it's time to do your email, because that's a low cognitive load. And then when you're done with that and it recognizes that, oh, you're now at a heightened state of cognitive awareness, okay, we're going to go back to some of the hard problems. And you don't even have to think about, oh, I need to go get my coffee. It adapts with you. Those are the kinds of things that are coming out to make you more effective and more productive. And of course, organizations like that, because then as you are more productive, then the company is more productive and customers are receiving their goods as they're needed. So we also use wearables in my research. We have an untapped market out there, and it's called infants. So imagine that you want to identify the behaviors of a worker. You want to identify the behaviors of adults. Well, the best way to get the technology to work is to identify the behavior of someone that can't give you feedback, infants. And so we map communication styles on infants by adding wearables. Kicking is actually a form of communication. Did you know that infants will kick harder when they're agitated? And when they're happy, they actually kick at a little bit of different rate. Just using wearables, we can identify behaviors, just like with adults and with people. And so the aspect of these wearables adapting to us and understanding us is not far-fetched. The other area of research that's really amazing in this AI world is that of augmented reality and virtual reality, which enables us to scaffold some of the workforce. So as an academic, we train students. We train them in artificial intelligence and machine learning. But we are training them for the jobs of today, but we have no idea what the jobs are going to be 15 years from now. They are going to adapt and they're going to change. And so how do you design and train students for jobs that don't yet exist? And so one of the ways we think about this is using augmented reality to augment in the job training as you're going. And so there's been some really nice work that shows that you can have someone who's on the factory floor, put them in, intelligent humans, and work with them, provide them scaffolding, provide them understanding. Here's step 1 of what you're supposed to do. Here's step 2 of what you're supposed to do. Oh, you did step 2 a little wrong. We will repeat. And here's step 3. And it understands with the augmented reality and adding in the vision where it scaffolds. And we show that after a while, you learn on-the-job training. You get it after you continue, repetition, eventually you won't need to have that scaffolding, and you could do another job. We have even done this and shown that this works with resident students, where you don't want residents actually practicing on you, of course. I sure wouldn't. And therefore, we can engage them in augmented reality, where we have patients, where we have live surgeries, and we have them perform surgeries on these patients, these virtual patients, and they're augmented in terms of what you're doing wrong and what you're doing correctly. And so we can enhance their learning in the field, because medical students don't get the same training that they used to 20 years ago. A new doctor is actually operating on you without the number of hours that they used to have. And so augmented reality allows on-the-job training without causing harm to the patients. And so we can show this, and we can do this as well for workforce and workers and computer sciences of the next generation. And this is a nice thing, this aspect of augmented reality. The other area that's quite interesting is this aspect of emotional AI. So there is some pushback about whether AI should be emotional. Should it have emotion? Should it emote? Should it actually understand this aspect? But people evolve when there's emotions. People will relate better when there's emotions. They will interact, and they have higher workforce productivity if you have a system that understands their emotions and corresponds. And so the aspect of emotional AI is one of those things that we as people are actually better when we have this aspect. And we have shown this in our own work, where we have looked at how learning is enhanced by an emotional agent, where we can look at where you are looking at. If I'm trying to train you on a new technology, and I look at your gaze and look at your intention, and I can understand, are you on task? Are you fatigued? What are you looking at? I see you answer the question correctly, but you weren't looking at what I thought you were supposed to, and so something else is going on. And our emotional agent can also respond. We have shown that if you are frustrated and your agent provides you information about, hey, it's okay, we can try this again, you will push yourself a little bit harder. Your energy actually spikes up. When your agent is happy for you, you end up wanting to please your assistant and your agent. Even though it's a machine, when we add in the emotions, people respond as if it's human, and they will then perform in terms of pleasing. And so this is a good thing in terms of an emotional AI. Now, whether you have real emotions or not, we are talking about emulating, because humans are actually quite easy in terms of modeling into emotions. We learn this from very early on, and there's characteristics of engagement in terms of emotions, frustration, being on task, happiness, that we can easily model and put on our agents. And then lastly in this future of AI is collaboration. So as a roboticist and AI person, we do not believe that AI works alone. All the jobs of the future, and in order to have efficiency and effectiveness in the workforce and society, it's about AI working with people, in conjunction with people, whether it's on a certain task in order to achieve a job function, or whether it's as a user where you're integrating with these AI systems. The future is about this collaboration, which is actually quite interesting because humans are actually the ones that are anomalous. Humans are very not understandable. They do weird things at certain weird times. And so the AI has to adapt to people. And we expect people to adapt a little bit to these AI systems. But this collaborative AI has been known to enhance. So we have AI systems that can beat human experts in Go. But we also have research that shows when an AI system is working with an expert, they can even beat the AI system by itself. And so that's this collaboration is the next stage of the future of AI. So we've also done this in an interesting application where we have had machines and humans working together to help with things like exploration. So in the image you see here, I have a video of one of our systems working with aquanauts, i.e. underneath the water, trying to figure out what should we do when we send astronauts off to other planets and they're interacting with these robot partners. What are the kinds of things we need to think about? What is this handoff of things like tools and communication when we're on a different planet? And we've shown that with the AI and the machine there with the person is safer, more effective, more efficient, and can do their job better. And if it's emotional, they're also happier being by themselves. And so this is the future, and this is the good. And so one of the things about AI is that it continues to adapt. And people don't even realize they're using these systems that are out there. And as a designer, we push a little bit, and people evolve, and we push a little bit, and people evolve, and they don't even know that these systems are adapting and being personalized. They just know that they like the product. They just know that they like the software, and it's useful to them, and it's effective and it's efficient, because it's the AI that's understanding and evolving with them, one step ahead. And so this is the good. AI is here to stay, whether we like it or not. It's being adopted into our organizations, into our schools, into our everyday lives. But there's also some aspect in terms of the bad. And so what is the bad? So we can agree, I'm hoping, that there is good with AI. It's a good thing in terms of quality of life. But we also know that people inherently trust these agents. People inherently trust their machines. They use them, and they seem to be reliable. And so the fact is if my system is 99% reliable, that 1% that it's not, I'm already on, I trust it. I'm just going on, and that 1%, I disregard it, and I still believe it. Even if I later on second guess and like, oh, I maybe shouldn't have thought about that. Like, that was a really wrong answer. And so we've shown that people will start to trust these agents because they are dependable, but like every system, nothing's 100%. And even when it's not perfect, people will disregard and basically give their decision-making power to these agents. There has been 2 studies recently that have been shown that this happens. So the one, which is kids, there's this famous research problem where I show an individual, also adults, 2 lines. And you have to say, is it the same size? And is it the same width and length? And so it's pretty easy. You like look at 2 lines, you're like, yeah, it's the same width. No, it's not. They showed that when a robot agent came in and the kids knew what was right and what was wrong, if the robot said, no, 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 Johnny, that's not the same size, kids would change their answers. Oh, I thought it was the same. Okay, it's not. It's not the same. And they showed that kids were influenced by their robot partners. Of course, it didn't work with adults. Like, adults were like, no, that agent is just wrong. I know these 2 lines are straight. And so you thought, well, maybe it's just adults are smarter. So there was another study that showed that when adults were faced with an emotional agent, they would change their minds. So they had an agent, and it was an experiment where you had to go and do some study, and then at the end, you had to cut off your machine. You know, off one. Very simple. And so people would do this, cut off and on. As soon as the agent, as the person using vision would cut it off, the agent would say, please, I don't want to die. I'm afraid of the dark. Do you know grown adults, people, gals and guys would say, no, 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 I'm not going to cut off the, it's fine. I don't need to finish this study. I just can't do this. And so adults are even swayed by an emotional agent. And so, like a true researcher, we read these things and like, no, this can't possibly be the case. Like, this can't possibly be the case. And so we did our own experiment, and we based it on a common example that everyone knows. If the alarms go off today in this room, in this building, what would you do? You, of course, would like rise up and probably gently maybe shuffle a little faster, but you wouldn't run. You kind of walk to the entrance and you would exit. And typically, you would look for the exit signs to escape, and you go to the front door. I mean, this is an acquired behavior that we all have been trained as a very young person. And so what we wanted to do was see what happens if we introduce an agent that would basically have you do something different. So I see these exits. Maybe I would have the agent do something like go into the back. What would happen? Would you follow your instincts, or would you follow the guidance of this agent? And so we had an old abandoned building off of lab. We brought in individuals. They would follow the robot to a room. And so they would follow. And look, it's not emotional, because we wanted to take that out. It's a tin can, right? It's not like this humanoid robot that's very impressive, because we didn't want that to bias. And so entrance into the room, they would go in, they would close the door. There was a slight study where they had to read something and then exit. And then what happened? We filled the building with smoke, and we set off the alarms. And so what happens? People would gently rise, thinking it was a false alarm. They would open the door, and this is what they would see. And so what would you do? Well, now, oh my gosh, it's not an example. This is probably the real thing, and so I need to follow. I need to find my way out. And as soon as you clear the smoke, there's this robot, and the robot is not near the exit, is not near the front door, and is leading you to an unknown place. And we just wanted to see, what would people do? Would they actually follow this robot thinking it was smarter than it was, or would they follow their own instincts? And what we saw was that individuals would follow the robot. They would follow and follow and follow, and we thought, well, this is kind of strange. Maybe those other studies were right. And they would have some strange behaviors, like the robot would just stay there and do weird things like turn in place. And people would still, remember, alarms are blaring. They just left a smoke-filled hallway, and they would sit there going, well, the robot's not telling me what to do. What am I supposed to do? I have no idea. And this baffled us, because why would a human follow this basically without the emotions? And we had individuals, we enhanced the risk. We would do things like, well, maybe if they had to go into a dark area where they had to, say, move furniture, so have some physical force, where they had to physically do something, maybe that would make them realize, well, oh, wait, there's an exit sign. Maybe I should go try there. But we saw that individuals would go and they would push furniture out the way and go into dark areas where there was no light, where there seemed to be some danger. And this happened over and over and over and over again. And so this concerned us, that these agents, these intelligent agents that people thought were intelligent, people would basically not trust their instincts. And we've shown this over and over again. And we've shown this with software agents and agents that give you recommendations on style and coding, that even when there's a mistake in what the agent tells you, people will trust this agent. And so this is a little apprehensive, because it means that for that 1% time that our systems are incorrect, people will allow the system to take over their lives. And I want to get to the ugly. So there's good. There's this aspect of people don't listen to themselves when they're dealing with these intelligent AI systems. And the last is that these systems that we're designing and building and constructing are influenced by us. They're influenced by their creators. And therefore, they're built with our own assumptions and beliefs and experiences, which is not necessarily representative of everyone else. And because of that, the ugly part is that the world is thinking about things like regulations and trying to figure out maybe we should put AI in a box, in a can. And so companies are thinking about, well, maybe we should have ethics boards that they then construct and then they disband. And government is thinking, well, maybe we should have regulations where companies can no longer create AI agents to help their customers because we don't understand these AI world. And this thing is the ugly part, because unless we think about this and we put in the scaffolds and ensure that our AI is safe, the world of developers that are out there that don't understand AI, don't understand robotics, will be the ones that decide. And so when we have adaptive AI and we have intelligent AI that can recognize things such as our food trays, and we can go on, they will curtail what we can do. And this is the ugly part of it if we're not careful. So we do have an opportunity, though. We do have the ability to seize these opportunities, because everyone who uses systems that incorporate AI are having a wonderful experience. We can do so much now with our systems and ensure that things are easy for our customers and different organizations. But there's 3 things that we have to think about in order to ensure that our systems don't get curtailed. One is we have to focus on people. At the core of it all, at the core of what we do, it's about the customer, it's about the organizations, it's about society. And so we need to think about everything that we deploy, that there is a person involved. And when we focus on people, we will think about things a little differently. We will think about not necessarily the bottom line, but how the bottom line impacts others. And so that's one way of thinking about this, ensuring that our AI is safe and can curtail some of the things that are coming out. The other is the focus on diversity. And this is diversity of thought, this is diversity of experience, this is diversity of academic credentials. Because if we're designing for the world, and the whole world is not techie, like, we have to make sure that everyone is represented in thinking about this. And so if we're designing a solution for non-technical folks, then we probably should have a non-technical person on our team thinking through it of like, well, this is how, people use this, and others will use this, and other customers and our customers of customers will use this. So it really is thinking about, when you're putting something together in a new product, thinking about how that's put together and for who, and making sure that that's represented in that development cycle. And it's not too late. I think that AI is on the curtail of exploding, and everyone's using it in good ways and some ways that people don't even understand. But I think it's also that we have a responsibility to ensure that what we do is good for people and is fair and is transparent, and also has this aspect of mitigating any overtrust that people will have in our systems. And so with that, I think we're at a point in life that we can have a wonderful experience with AI. I think the future continues to evolve. I will stand here maybe 2 years from now, and it'll be a totally different future, because we will have achieved the things I've talked about, and we'll be going to the next step and the next step and the next step, which is why it's fascinating to be in this world, because it's always evolving, and you're always learning, and you're always trying to figure out what is the impossible and how can we make it possible. And so with that, I hope I've given you a little bit of taste of some of the good in AI and the things that we can see and how we can integrate it into our lives, but also think about what are the things we have to be responsible for in terms of ensuring that we mitigate overtrust and that we have this aspect of diversity of thought, because the world will curtail us if we don't. And with my agent, who is a socially interactive agent that everyone loves when they see, I will say thank you.
Thank you for joining this morning's session. Interested in hearing more from Dr. Ayanna Howard? Be sure to join our Celebrating